What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is Married to Medicine, Season 8, Episode 3. So, we open this episode off, once again, they're giving us the real-life experiences of these doctors. We see all of the doctors on their personal iPhones doing sort of video diaries, and they're talking about the experience of what they're going through in the emergency room, being on the front lines. Dr. Simone, Dr. Jackie are like, listen, the babies ain't know it was a pandemic. The babies ain't stopped coming. Dr. Simone even said, listen, at times like this, I'm glad I went into babies, because babies don't never stop coming no matter what's going on in the world. And Eugene talked about how he had friends who are losing practices and things like that because people have stopped coming to the emergency room and going to doctors for anything other than COVID, really. We even know that at one point they were postponing surgeries if it was not life or death. And we mean serious surgeries though. Hospitals shutting down because they're full, and we remember it. And so again, we're seeing these video diaries from a first-hand perspective, right? And it's daunting. Once again, to see it in retrospect, it is daunting. We see Dr. Heavily. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry, y'all. We see Dr. Heavily doing her part the best way she knows how. There's a young lady that came into her office who, her teeth got knocked out at a protest. Her story, she works for an organization that, when people are getting arrested, she's videotaping the arrest, asking these people, what's your name, what's your date of birth, so that we can, she said, so we can catalog it, we can look, and, if they need to get legal help, we need to contact family members and things like that. She said while she was doing that, a police officer punched her, and she said she wasn't sure if it was the impact of the punch or if it was her cell phone, but it knocked her teeth out, and it made the news, and some, people tagged Dr. Heavenly in it, and Dr. Heavenly said, listen, I flew her out so that, I could fix her smile. She said, I can't be out there on the front lines, or I'm not out there on the front lines, and this is my way of giving back. And so I can appreciate that. She definitely gonna get her, publicity in on it. But I don't have a problem with people doing things when there's a double, I don't want to say motive, but I can get something out of it and you can get something out of it. You gave that young lady her smile back, for free. And she was out there doing something righteous that a lot of people either can't or won't do. So I definitely was here for it. Then we have this unnecessary scene with Latoya and Anila where they go to play tennis. I think this scene basically served to show us how close her and Anila have gotten over the last couple of years. Okay. Yeah. Whatever. And it looks like Toya didn't just join the tennis team. It looked like she running the damn tennis team, but that's what Toya is, bossy. Then we have Miss Quad making her debut this season. Now listen, I don't know why the powers that be decided to reduce Quad to a friend of the show status, but baby, can I tell you that we are in episode 3 and I've absolutely missed Miss Quad. I don't know where. Listen, and for the 5 minutes that we saw Miss Quad, she stole the scene and she gave us some stuff that we could feel. So Quad went over to Dr. Heavenly's house up in that she first of all she threw a shade at Dr. Heavenly about having a 3-story closet. She said, I don't know why she needed a 3-story closet. I don't know if she is just trying to take up space in her home, but it is certainly not because of the fashions. She said, and let's be clear, I'm not coming for all dentists. I'm not saying dentists can't dress. I'm just saying this dentist can't dress. Then Heavenly played her the video that a lot of us saw over the summer where Toya and Eugene were on FaceTime with were on Instagram with Simone and Cecil, and Toya was throwing a lot of shade at Quad about, don't nobody want Quad on the show, and don't nobody want to film with Quad but Heavenly in her little old apartment. And Quad was like, please don't make me come for her and her house, because I know how she got her house, and I know by hook, crook, you begged, borrowed, and stole to get that house. She said, as a matter of fact, Toya took out a personal loan for $100,000 just to be able to finish the pool on that house. And Heavenly was like, so they got debt on top of debt. She was like, uh-huh. So don't do that because I will be forced to spray all your teeth. Baby. Like I said, they're 5 minutes, setting up a whole lot of. So because Quad thought her and Toya was cool. She was like, I don't know why she was throwing shade at me. I thought we was good. So we have Jackie visiting with Contessa. She's showing Contessa's showing her the new space where they're gonna open up their office. Come to find out that the space is a mile and a half from her house, a mile and a half from Jackie's house, and it's somewhere in the middle. And so they are right all of there together. And Jackie asked her about, working with her husband, and Contessa was kind of like, well, I mean, we still going through some things. He stopped going to therapy, and Jackie was like, okay, but are you still in therapy? And Contessa started making all these excuses, and she said, I ain't gonna let you just zoom right past that. My question is, are you still in therapy? I ain't worried about him. When you talking about him, are you in therapy, ma'am? And Contessa was like, well, I just don't have time. She said, girl, you can do virtual. You can do therapy from your phone, sitting in your car on your lunch break. Like, where there's a will, there's a way. And she told her, look, it is important that you keep going and that you continue to go through your therapy. She also asked Jackie about mistakes. She said, I need your help and your guidance. What are some mistakes that you made early on? What are some things that I could try to avoid some pitfalls? And Jackie said, listen, in the beginning, I lost a lot of money. In the beginning. She said, I wasn't billing patients on time. We made a lot of insurance errors. We were buying expensive equipment when we could have gotten the same thing cheaper. She said, and those are just the lessons you learn. She said, but those are some things that we definitely went through, early on in the practice. Then, what else did she ask her about? I don't know. I feel like that might be it. Anyway, it was a good conversation though. It was definitely a good conversation. Um, Anila. So Anila is having a Rocky um ceremony. And we find out that this is something that is traditional, and she's from India. She's tradition in the Indian household is for a brother and sister ritual. Now, because she had a sister, her and her sister never had this ritual, but now that she has a son and a daughter, this is something that she wants to do. That she wants to have the ceremony. So her mom and dad are in town, and her sister and the kids and all of that, they're there. Her parents live in Savannah, so that's about an hour and a half, 2 hours from Atlanta. And her mother is a whirlwind, a hurricane, a whole lot. And her mama came in with all this food and all of these packages and all this personality, honey. And we found out that her parents were from India. Her dad came to America in the 70s to go to college. After he graduated, he went home. His parents had arranged a marriage for him, and his mama was one of the women he could pick from. He picked her. They've been, together ever since. We also found out that her and her brother and her son-in-law, Anila's husband, he tolerates her. He tolerates his mother-in-law. He's very respectful, but certainly she does a lot. She extra, y'all. She's a whole lot of. Now, she let Toya, now she's having a ceremony, and she's invited some people to come to the ceremony. And she let Toya know that she invited Contessa. And Toya was like, what you invite Contessa for? I didn't even know that you knew her. Like, I didn't know y'all was cool like that. She said, well, at Heavenly's event, she seemed really nice, and I want to get to know her better. And so, I wanted to invite her to come through. Toya ain't feeling it. Toya doesn't understand why she there. But Toya is like, all right, whatever. You do what you do. You like it, I love it. Whatever. So then we see Toya and her day-to-day struggle. Listen. Toya talking about the kids that are homeschooling. She's struggling with the kids homeschooling. She's snapping at the kids. She's snapping at Eugene. And Eugene was like, listen, I feel like a lot of us are going through, because we dealing with what we dealing with because of COVID. We stuck in the house. We stuck around each other. We don't have a lot of outlets. Toya is complaining about the kids homeschooling. She feels like they're getting further and further behind. And she is complaining about how much time she is spending with the homeschooling and everything that they're going through. Now, Toya, weren't you a teacher? Like, you had an advantage that a lot of other parents didn't have. You used to do this for a living. And I get it, but you were a teacher, ma'am. Am I wrong? Put that in the listen. If I am wrong, put it in the comments. But I could have sworn that at one point in time, Toy was a teacher. Girl, if you don't sit them kids down in front of that damn computer and make them do that work and get it done and keep it moving, anyway. So, anyway, I was just like, maybe I don't have a whole lot of sympathy for Toya because I just think Toya is doing a whole lot. I just feel like she's being real extra and doing a whole lot. Maybe that's why I don't have a whole lot of sympathy for Toya. I don't know. Anyway, so we get to the Reiki, I believe it is, the Reiki. And they rented out a space and it was really nice. They decorated it really nicely. Simone came. Cecil wasn't there because he had a trip. Him and Michael had to go on a basketball/golfing trip. Contessa showed up with her husband. Toya and Eugene were there. And then, of course, Anila's family. Toya had shaved for Contessa the minute she walked in the door. Now, everybody is having a good time. They went through the whole ceremony. It was beautiful. We saw how the ceremony worked, and it was what it was. So Anila pulls Contessa aside to talk to her. And she said, listen, I know you and Toya don't get along, but I want you, I really would love for y'all to work this out. And Contessa was like, girls, it's okay. She was like, I thought me and Toya was cool. Well, Toya was upset because you made some comments about having to take your shoes off at her house. Contessa was like, okay, but even if I did, which I don't really remember, but even if I did, so what? It wasn't that serious. Okay, so I didn't want to take my shoes off at your party. Is it a big deal? Is that a big deal? Like, I don't see what the big deal is. And so she was just like, well, I just really wish that, because Toya's a really sweet person. I really like Toya. She's a sweet person. And she was like, listen, are we here to, I mean, was this your way of, like, trying to, like, advocate and for Toya? Are we here for your ceremony? Like, it is what it is. Like, whatever's going on between me and Toya is going to be what it's going to be, but I'm here to get to know you. She was like, I just want to get to know you. I want us to build our relationship organically and get to know each other. And that's just what it is. Like, that ain't even why I ain't here for all of that. So then, they go through the whole thing and they send the kids inside so that, they can have some adult time. And as soon as the kids go inside, she starts up again with Contessa. Contessa, I really, really want you and Toya to work this out. Like, I really, really want you and Toya. And Contessa was like, is this what this is about? Like, did you bring me here just to try to, like, what is going on here? Like, she said, and so Toya starts coming for her and making these smart comments. And she starts cussing her out. And at first, Contessa was like, listen, I ain't going to disrespect you. I don't want to disrespect your mom. Because her mother was there. She said, but, I really just, if you want to get to know me, fine. Let us build an organic relationship. But this is not the time and the place for this with me and Toya. It's not that serious. It's not that deep. And I really ain't here for all of that. Well, it kept going. It kept escalating. So finally, Contessa just cussed everybody out. And she is trying to make Contessa sit down. And her mom is trying to pull on Contessa. And Contessa said, listen, with everything going on with COVID, like, my world at this point is so beyond this. And before Contessa could finish, Toya starts going off about, I don't give a fuck about COVID. I don't give a fuck about COVID. And Contessa was like, she said, we deal with COVID every day. Contessa was like, listen, I'm seeing people die every day. My husband is a doctor. He sees people die too. So what? That ain't what this is about. I'm sick of people making everything about COVID. I'm fucking sick of COVID. Now, Simone, to her credit, ain't said nothing. She eating her food and she ain't in it. But what she did say in her confessional was, this ain't about Contessa not wanting to take her shoes off. This is about Toya feeling like Contessa doesn't respect her. And I do feel like Toya just gets that whole bad rap of, well, you just a doctor's wife. You don't really understand. You're just a doctor's wife. But okay, at the end of the day, you are a doctor's wife. You are not a doctor. And so COVID is hitting doctors different than it's hitting doctors' wives. That doesn't mean that you're not suffering. That doesn't mean that you don't have to come home and see your husband suffering. But it is different hearing stories about people dying versus watching people dying. It's a difference. And I feel like all Contessa was saying was, which a lot of us got to that point where it's like, listen, people are literally dying every day. Ain't nobody tripping over the fact that I wouldn't take no shoes off for your party a year and a half ago. Can we move past it? Are we going to move past it? At any point, are we going to get past it? Like, it was just like, it is so not this serious. So then Contessa was like, listen, I'm out. Like, I'm not doing this and I'm gone. Now, Contessa, you was a little extra throwing that napkin in that woman's face, but okay. And when her mom was trying to pull on Contessa was like, listen, I'm bigger than you and I'm stronger than you and I want to be respectful. Can you please let go of me? I want to be respectful. I want to be respectful. And then after Contessa left with her husband, with Scott, Anila tried to make it seem like Contessa was wrong. I can't believe she did that. I can't believe she just left like that. I can't believe I invited her here and she just left like that. She tried to tell you to let it go. She tried to tell you to leave it alone. She tried to be respectful. You pushed that. You kept pushing it. Once you pulled her aside and had a conversation with her, that should have been the end of it. Because I feel like Contessa was polite but direct. It's saying, I'm here to get to know you. I'm here because you invited me. This ain't about me and Toya. Let's stick to the script. Okay? Which I guess that was the script. But you know what I'm saying. And, you know, Contessa is pulling off like, I don't understand. Like, that wasn't the time or the place for that. I ain't trying to start no fights. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful, but I really thought I was polite in saying, let's move on here. Let's move on here, baby. I just don't understand how they turned that on Contessa. How did Anila, well, we know how Toya gonna do it, but how did Anila make that about Contessa? Contessa wasn't wrong. I don't feel like Contessa was wrong at all. Y'all tell me if y'all feel like Contessa was wrong. But I don't feel like Contessa started that. I don't feel like she was wrong and I don't feel like she started that. Y'all let me know, though. Drop it in the comments. Peace.